Welcome to the Tailgate Game Day Show on this last weekend of September. Wow, we've got a great one lined up for you today. First, we're going to have Tony Hermann and myself. We're going to be kind of reviewing what's been going on with Osage Football, the game last week, and looking ahead a little bit to tonight's game. Then we'll talk to Coach Shannon Jolley. He was in a good mood this week, and after the loss, though, they're retooling because Hallsville's coming to town for this is homecoming weekend, and so he's getting ready for that. And then Rick Hasty and I, we're going to be talking about some of the college games coming on up, and this is a nice weekend because some of those big teams, they're taking their bye week now. Going to head on out to the links, talk to Travis Squire. He's the coach of the golf team, and they're on their way to the second state title. Wow, that would be fantastic. And one of his pupils, one of his students, one of their players, India, will be joining us. Then we're going to go over the Diamond on softball, talk with Lexi Dickerson. We'll find out what's happening there. And then something unusual, we're going to be heading on over to Camdenton to the football field, but not for players, but for their marching band. Camdenton has a big weekend. They're traveling up to Iowa for Bands of America, big BOA convention, conference, competition. It's more of a competition. And 150 strong, they're traveling up there with 40 adults. So Dominic Zanaboni, he's a director of bands at Camden, and he'll be joining us with their drum major for tonight. And then something very special. We're going to play about the last 4 minutes of the big volleyball match, what we called the Battle at the Lake. And this is with the Camdenton Lakers and the Osage Indians, the Lady Lakers, the Lady Indians. And it got very close, and they were neck and neck. Someone had to win on the Battle of the Lake, and we'll let you kind of see who that is at the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Tailgate Game Day. Welcome back. Guy Wehman along with Tony Hermann. We're going to be discussing what happened Friday night with the Osage Indians. How you doing, Tony?
Doing good. What a great week. Can you believe that we are already at week 6 of this season? What just seems like what it started, now we're getting towards the end, and all of these games matter.
Yes, we had game 1 through 4, and then the last week was that transitional game of 5. Now we have 3 regulars plus that play-in game at the end, so another 4 left.
It is. This season has went quick as the Osage Indians come out. They are 1-4. They lose last Friday night at home in a very close game against the California Pintos. They go down 17-14, and a field goal is what separated them.
Yeah. Okay, now let's look ahead here because I think this is quite interesting. As you mentioned before, it's the Indians against the Indians, Hallsville coming into town. This is homecoming game as well for Osage. But Osage, they have something to prove to themselves, don't they?
Well, it's going to be a homecoming game, just as you talked about. That is always an inspirational game for these Osage Indians, as homecoming is a big deal here at School of the Osage. One thing that's different as Hallsville comes in, they're 4-1 so far in this season, and they're a very good football club.
You know, that's a lot different than last year because last year there was the win over Eldon, and then California, once again, Osage beat them on the road, California, and then they won out the rest, and so they beat Hallsville. But it seems like tide has changed because California came and beat Osage at home.
You know, that was a very close game, guys. And what we saw was 3 interceptions by the Osage Indians that really gave away. 2 were inside the red zone there, and they were in the end zone with opportunities to add to the lead for that time for these Osage Indians. Didn't happen. even though they were interceptions, I do like the play calling of the Osage Indians right now.
Maverick Trusty, on that first interception, he was going for the left corner of the end zone, and when he went there, that was the first interception, and they turned around and did the exact same play going in the other direction.
You know, I think as the season started, we were like, we've got a lot of work in this position. But we've seen Maverick, his first year as a starter for the Osage Indians, seems to grow every game, seems to be more confident, seems to be a little bit better each week.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. And we're starting to see they're the two workhorses. We're talking Aiden Williams and Jason Colonius, that these two young men, I don't want to say that they're putting the team on their back, but what they're doing, they're actually working themselves. And I think Aiden's only a junior.
Well, you're going to see that, especially with the offense of head coach Shannon Jolley, which is going to be primarily run-oriented. And so it's no shock that you see that these running backs are carrying the majority of the load on the offensive side of the football. And that's Aiden Williams last year, who had a couple of other backs that helped him as well. This year, Jason Colonius steps up, and he's having a great season so far.
Okay, what do you expect to come up on this week's game?
I think you're going to see these Indians try to get a little better. I think you're going to see they're going to continue to mix up their play calling, going to try to run to the outside. I don't think they're going to give up the passing game even after the interceptions from last week. But then I think you're going to see some up the middle stuff as well.
Let me ask you a question, because we had a lot of seniors graduate last year. Now we've got a lot of underclassmen like Aiden Williams. He's a junior now. Do you think that there's any thought process going on? It's like, okay, we're going to get through this season, but we're going to start training these kids. They're going to be the leader for next year. So this is maybe like a transitional year for next year. You think any of that thinking is going into the coaching?
Well, I think right now, if you're on the Osage Indian staff, you're trying to prepare your kids to win this Friday night.
Yes.
I don't think they're looking that far down the road right now. I think that's an off-season thing. I think when you get into the off-season, those were thoughts that they were having last summer as they were looking to build for the next several years. This season, in season, you're trying to win football games. Right now, they're at 1-4. The Eldon game became their first win for them last season. They rattled off the next 7 victories. But now California comes in. They come out with the victory. Indians are going to have to get it together, and that certainly needs to be against these Hallsville Indians.
You know, there's some pluses, and we've talked about this even during the games. Special teams, that Osage is not being beaten like they were last year on those special teams or those big plays. And so they've learned some things from last year.
You know, the big plays is what killed the Osage Indians in the beginning of the season last year, especially on the kickoff and kickoff returns. And so we're not seeing that this year. We're seeing very solid special team play from these Osage Indians, and they have a strong kicking game, whether it's on the field goal, or whether it's the punt or the kickoff.
And defensively, they're not letting those big plays get to them as well. We're watching the defenders with those passing plays, that they're not letting that receiver get behind them. They're trying to keep between things.
I mean, most high school football teams are open in the secondary for the pass. Usually when the pass is incomplete, it has a little something to do with the quarterback that threw it and the offense. But right now, you see football teams always trying to get better in the secondary and stay with those receivers as well.
All across the state of Missouri, and you mentioned this, and I think it's so cool, at 7 o'clock on any Friday night, guess what? It's kickoff time.
All across the state of Missouri, 7 o'clock. We're all doing the same thing.
Hey, thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
We'll be back. It's time for the Coach's Corner. We're here with Coach Shannon Jolley in Osage campus here. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good. Just ready for that weather to heat up, I guess.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Well, you know what? Every week we look back at what happened the week before, then we take a look at what's coming up. And looking back last week, okay, it was coming off of the Eldon win, but there were some good things that we did see.
Yeah, I thought our kids played really well. I mean, we had some opportunities to put ourselves in a situation to win. California was a great football team. A lot of times I think people look at records and try to compare scores, and think they understand, California had some guys inside, specifically up front, that I thought were as good as some of the people we've seen in the past, and we've seen some good ones, but their effort and determination stood out to me, so hats off to them. I mean, it was a good win for them for sure.
We were looking at Maverick Trusty, and then on that one interception, let's talk about the first interception. He threw it to the left end of the end zone there, and that was an interception. You turned around when you're going the other way, and you did the exact same play, but that was a well-thrown ball. It was just there were just a couple of things that just kind of went awry.
Yeah, you'll probably get tired of hearing me say this, but there's certain things that you learn in game situations. And sometimes they're going to cost you games, sometimes they're going to win you games. So, he had some really nice placement on some of the pass plays and stuff, but there was a couple where that were kind of ill-advised decisions and things. And so, we're just committed. We're committed to figuring it out. And that's the difference. If you go around trying to put Band-Aids on everything, and as soon as something doesn't go your way, you change it or go to the next thing, you're going to find yourself fixing things all the time. So we're going to stick with what we're doing and the things that we feel like we can do well. And, Maverick's part of that process, and he's doing just fine.
We're looking at the development of this young man, and he's not a senior, okay? He's got a couple more years to grow into this thing, but he's developing the arm strength to get it down, but it's that touch that you cannot teach sometimes. That just is inherent within the person.
Yeah, and if you noticed, I think late in the game he had one pass that was really nice where he did have a nice touch on. I know Coach Baumstark and him are working on that. But again, like I said, and then when you're in a game situation, it's different each week too. The speed of the game changes, different of your opponent, what kind of defense. So, this year we knew was going to be a transitional year for us. But it's been good. And like I said, we're proud of what he's done so far, and he's been the most consistent we've got, as far as leadership in that role. And that's, who we're hanging our hat on. And he'll get better, I promise you. If you know anything about Maverick, he's going to be committed to being the best. And like you said, look out in the next couple of years.
What is interesting, and you just mentioned it, transition, because sometimes you don't want to talk about that, but you lost a considerable amount of seniors, from graduation last year. And this team is really kind of holding up, but there's some things that are growing, and you can see it within the club. Aiden Williams, okay, he's now developing into a mature young man to impart some leadership there. Jason Colonius, he's now stepping up.
Yeah, we've got guys. If you wanted to hang out with us for a week, you'd see a bunch of those guys. We had a huge game here Monday against Camdenton's freshman team, and we were able to come out with a victory in that lower level game that was really significant because it was a great football game. It was a great Camdenton football team, and our kids competed well, but they were excited about competing at that level. Somebody made another comment to me today about why were we playing Jeff City and why were we doing this, and just sit back and pay attention. I think when you play good competition, we talk about it all the time. We want to be playing our best football in week 10. It said nothing about how many wins we had. If I wanted to go back last year and restructure our schedule, we could have a winning record right now if I wanted to. And that's not the plan. The plan is to develop where we can play the best football, so when we get an opportunity to play in a district championship game again, we win it, and we move on into the state playoffs, and we can compete for a state championship. And that's it.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, now we're on the second half of the season here because last week was 5. Now we got these next 5 coming up. And we've got Hallsville coming to town. It's homecoming weekend as well.
Yeah, I mean, Hallsville's a great football team. Again, they're 4-1, so you got a winning program coming in. Coach Conyers is a state championship coach and had experience and those types of things. And last year's game was really better than maybe what the score allowed. We got a win at Hallsville, but coming in this year is a little bit different. I mean, those guys have a different dynamic. They're super athletic, and they're excited. And the cool part about it is they bring an intensity every year, I think, is a reflection of their head coach, where they play fast and they play hard, and they've got a lot of confidence.
Okay, what are you seeing on Hallsville from their offense that your defense has to maybe adjust to or attack?
Well, they've got 3 receivers in their passing game that they'll share the ball with, which changes things. A lot of teams you'll play have 1 good receiver, maybe 2. They've got 3 talented receivers, and their quarterback does a good job of spreading it out. So, that kind of spreads the defense out and uses the whole field. So we just need to make sure that we tackle in space. We kind of anticipate through down and distance and things what maybe they're most likely to do. But really it'll boil down to, our philosophy is swarm and punish on defense, make sure everybody's getting to the football and that we make tackles in the open field.
You know, you mentioned they've got those 3 receivers, and something we saw last year at the beginning of the season, big plays cost you those games, and we're starting to see your defense tightening up. And so that is something that you're going to have to attack those receivers and probably get to the right position so that they don't have a big play.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. But that comes with experience, too, in the secondary. When you spend a whole season defending the pass, there's only so many route combinations and things that people throw at you. So the more that you experience those route combinations, the more confidence you have in defending them.
All right. Now, your offense are going against their defense. What are you seeing on their defense that you have to kind of exploit, we'll say?
Well, it's just us continuing to have ball control. I think, seen on Friday night, we've had some sustained drives that are, above 5 and 6 play drives, and I think that'll continue to be something that we look for, throughout the season.
Okay. Any injuries on the club?
Nope, we're good right now, just healing up as we go.
Preparations for homecoming. It's the homecoming game tonight, and there's a whole lot that goes on to that. It's like an extended halftime, and you got all the other activities.
Yeah, it's just not that big a deal anymore. I think kids are well versed. The normal halftimes now are 20 minutes anyway. We've got senior night where we'll represent our seniors before the game, but I think kids are more resilient than people think they are as far as that stuff, so it's just not significant.
So this is a big night coming up here with senior night and basically homecoming.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big night every Friday night, and to bring the crowds that we've had here is pretty exciting. I think people are excited about watching competitive football at School of the Osage and watching our kids grow, and I think it's pretty evident to watch that the growth is definitely happening at all levels, so we're excited about that.
Thanks so much for Coach's Corner.
All right, guys, thanks for being here.
Welcome back to another week. Rick Hasty along with myself, Guy Wehman. And Rick, we've got some interesting college games to talk about.
Absolutely. I mean, there's some really shockers that came out last week. And then this weekend like that, there's some really big games where ranked teams are playing against ranked teams.
Let's talk a little bit about Colorado. Then we're going to go down the list with the number 1 team of Georgia. Colorado, they were almost playing outside of their norm there those first couple of weeks. And we were talking a little bit off air that it was almost a little bit fantasy for them to be listed that high.
Well, I think it was a kiss of death, all right, to put those boys in that kind of position, for them to move into being ranked in the top 25, 23 to be exact, all right, put a lot of pressure on them to perform. And then all of a sudden they ran into somebody that could actually play the game.
Yeah, a buzzsaw. And if we're looking down here at what's going to happen here with Colorado, they're playing USC. Then USC's number 8th ranked. Now, this is going to be a big test, and everyone, the Cinderella team, which is the word we used, but I think this is not only will it be close, but I do think USC is going to pull this thing out.
Well, Guy, the reality, teams are starting to get all the cobwebs out now. The players are starting to feel the injuries that most people don't really know too much about. And what you're going to see, and this is that the bigger schools like a USC, all right, are going to be able to put the second, the third guy in, whereas Colorado doesn't have that second and third guy necessarily that could play.
Yeah. Now, some of these top-ranked teams, it's interesting, we go down the list, it seems like a lot of these top-ranked teams, this is the week they're traveling. So it's early enough in the year, early enough in the season, that if they're going to get their traveling done, let's do it now. And it might still be on a top 25 team, but it's going to be an upper-ranked team. It's not going to be lower. So, an example, a number 3 against a number 18. Number 3 will travel to the 18 in this week. They don't want to do that in the last maybe month of the season.
No. I mean, and right now, just for an example, the top 25 ranked are playing in 16 games this week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's something to where you're starting to see the pairings for the conferences starting to come up. And you're starting to see, like I said, some of the cobwebs come off, and the players are starting to get into the rhythm. All right. So you're going to see a lot better play, and I don't think you're going to see as many blowouts.
and they're also starting to play within their conferences, we'll say. So let's take a look at the number 1 ranked Georgia. They're traveling to Auburn this week. They're both SEC teams, Rick.
Right. And, I mean, in Georgia, a lot of people have questioned whether or not that they should be number 1 ranked. Mm-hmm. Well, until they get beat, they're going to be number 1 ranked. All right. But this weekend, like this says, going to Auburn, Auburn's going to be a true test for them. Auburn, for many years, was a powerhouse. Now, it's not ranked right now, but it's one of those things, and like this is to where when you see a team with that kind of recruiting capabilities, all right, anything can happen.
And then you go, we'll go number 2. Number 2 is Michigan with Harbaugh and company up there, as they call it, Big Blue. Well, they're traveling to Nebraska, the Cornhuskers. And, we harken back to the day when Nebraska and Oklahoma, they had that New Year's night game, it seems like forever, down there in the Orange Bowl. Nebraska's having a tough time right now.
Well, they've got a new coach.
Matt Brule.
Right. And Matt comes from the NFL.
Yeah, he was at Baylor, I believe. Then
right.
He went to Carolina, and now he's in Nebraska.
And it's something to where I don't know how he got to the NFL, but it's not saying he's a bad coach, but you got a lot of people that are questioning whether or not Nebraska should have hired him or not. But right now, like this is, you're going to look at Michigan, which is running on all cylinders. Mm-hmm. They are strong, all right? And they can play their second or third line player and still be very competitive.
All right, what about these Longhorns? They're traveling to Kansas, number 24 ranked Kansas there. I think it's the, the Blue Hawks, the Blue Jays?
Yeah.
Or the Jayhawks?
No, Blue Jays.
Anyways, though, Texas is traveling.
Texas is playing like that. They're hosting, and it's something to where Kansas, again, it's one of the ranked teams. All right, that's even though they're ranked 24th and Texas is 3. All right, quite honestly, right now the line spread is like 33-21, and I think it's something where Kansas is a good team. They've had it for years, and it's just one of those circumstances that I believe that we're going to see Texas be tested this week.
Okay, Ohio State number 4, Florida State number 5. It looks like they're on a bye week this week. Now, Penn State traveling to Northwestern. Northwestern, people used to beat up on Northwestern. It's like, okay, we're playing Northwestern. That's, but every once in a while there can be a little sleeper happening here. But Penn State, linebacker U.
Well, everybody really believes, and it was early rankings, all right, they were figured to be in the top 5, all right? And being at number 6 right now, they're playing on all cylinders. They're playing a great game of both defensively and offensively. And that's some of the reports that came out this week when you started looking at the teams, not only their capability of scoring, but their capabilities of not being scored against.
Okay, Washington at Arizona. Washington's number 7, and then we've already talked about USC at Colorado. Anything notable about the Washington-Arizona game? I'm not seeing anything really notable about that game.
No, it's just the Washington itself hasn't even gotten some number 1 position votes, all right, in the top 25. But Arizona is not the powerhouse that they were a couple of years ago. So this should be probably an easier game for Washington, even though it's a noted school.
All right, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Interesting because 10 is Utah, 11 is Notre Dame, 12 is Alabama, LSU's number 13. All significant games because any one of these games can knock them even further out. It's going to take something really special to knock them in. Utah is at Oregon State. Notre Dame's at Duke. Alabama at Mississippi State. That's always tough. And then LSU at Ole Miss.
Right. You're going to see the Duke and Notre Dame this week, and that's being a real good game to watch. If you try to pick out one game that you really want to kind of see, that's going to be a real good test for both schools. Both of them are highly ranked, Notre Dame being 11th, Duke being 17th. And it's just one of those circumstances that I believe that right now the spread, quite honestly, Notre Dame is the underdog.
Now, Alabama, that's number 12, and even though they're playing unranked Mississippi State, Alabama, they've got to win all the way out to the end of the season because this is not a typical Nick Saban team to be down at number 12.
Now, and quite honestly, it's really testing Nick's capability of coaching this year. A lot of people are going to look at it because he hasn't got all of the Greyhounds that he's had in the past. So Mississippi State is no pushover, all right? They're going to, they aren't ranked, but they have always been competitive.
Okay, LSU at Ole Miss, both. That's going to be great because Ole Miss is number 20. Then 14 is Oklahoma, 15 North Carolina, 16 Washington State. We've already talked about Duke. Miami of Florida is number 18. Oregon State, number 19. Ole Miss, we've already talked about that. Here we go, number 21. This could be a good game because of Tennessee traveling to South Carolina. And Tennessee's got something to prove here. Well,
you've got also the home field advantage that South Carolina will be able to have the fans backing them. They can sleep in their own beds. All right, Tennessee's going to be the ranked team that should win by nothing more than just the ranking. All right, and they've got a tremendous. But if you ever go to Tennessee and watch a football game there, all right. You're talking 100,000 plus.
Yeah.
All right, at a game.
All right, Florida's number 22, and then for us right here in Missouri, you got number 23 Missouri traveling to Nashville because Vanderbilt is there. What a pretty venue being in Nashville, Music City and Vanderbilt. It's a nice school and everything, but Missouri, they've been playing tough. But boy, oh boy, we'd love to see them move up from 23.
Well, just to get into the top 25. All right, I think that if you would have told Coach you're going to be 23 after week 4, all right, you're going to be 4-0, I think that he would have taken that in the second flat. It is going to be a test for him. Vanderbilt is not a total pushover, but Mizzou has been playing extremely well.
And, they need that being in the SEC now.
They do, and the confidence itself, I watched an interview with the coach, and it's one of those things to where he's even got the confidence now. The players are starting to talk as if, hey, we can win. We are good. And somebody's got to beat us. So I think that, this week will be a real good game. They're favored to win 33-27.
What is nice about this, Rick, with Missouri is that they're starting to get some name recognition across the country. So being in that top 25 is what you just mentioned, but they've got those wins. That's something else that you mentioned. But people that are in South Carolina or in, like, say, Idaho or the Dakotas, all of a sudden they're starting to see the name Missouri there. It's like, oh, wow, so that's just not just some farm school. That's a notable school.
Well, it's also something that helps the coaches. They're out on the recruiting trail right now. They're out there looking at the next year's players that are going to come in. And so by the team being ranked, all right, that gives them some credibility, all right, to say, hey, look, we're working to get a good player. You could put us over that hump. And I think that helps a tremendous amount of that. Also, it helps with the alumni and the donors itself.
24 Kansas, then finally at top 25 is Fresno State. They're hosting Nevada.
That game itself, again, I would look at Fresno State having probably the upper hand in this game.
And that's probably going to be a 10:30 game at night on Saturday because it's a West Coast game.
Yeah, and nobody will necessarily see it other than in the newspaper.
Yeah. Well, Rick, this is always fun each and every week. And, hey, thanks for stopping in.
Thank you for the invite. Look forward to this week. Enjoy your football.
We'll be back. Well, we're here out at the Osage National Golf Club, and this seems to be your home course where you do all your practicing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, and we're very lucky to be out here. Beautiful course.
That's Coach Travis Squire, and we're so fortunate to have him as the coach of the golf club. And you guys, I saw the picture of you in the 5. Wow, you're smoking it.
Yeah, we placed first at our conference tournament yesterday, and not by a small margin. Being out here at Osage National and this being our home course is a little bit of the advantage, but a lot of the advantage is this young lady and my other 4.
Well, let me tell you something. It might have been that clubhouse breakfast we were talking about.
Well, we have ours yesterday was a great clubhouse lunch. They make a great burger for the turn. So the turn special is what they call it.
Because you got to feed the troops.
Oh yeah, they got to. These kids probably eat you out of house and home. Fortunately, my budget is big enough to take care of that.
Okay, yeah, the company card, right? Okay, who's our guest today, Coach?
This is India Ruse. She's a sophomore and one of our members of our team last year, our state team, and is our number 3 golfer this year.
India, how's it feel? I mean, coming off of yesterday.
It's pretty good. Yesterday I hurt my arm a little bit, but today I'm kind of getting back at it. It was really nice to play at Osage National yesterday. It just felt good to have that home advantage and just
How many of these tournaments have you done?
For school, I don't know for sure.
Good number.
Number.
We play about a half dozen tournaments in a year, and then a handful of 9-hole matches in between there.
Okay, India, how'd you get started in golf?
So me and my grandma played the summer before my freshman year a lot, and we were trying to figure out what sport I wanted to do, and she was really into golf, so I just decided why not do that. And
Well, what was the hardest part about golf? Was it to keep that one arm stiff going back, or what was it?
probably the mental game, just making sure you're really into it, because it is long to play. It's a lot different from a volleyball or basketball game. It takes 4 hours, a lot of times a lot longer than that. So,
How do you coach that, Coach?
Well, every kid's an individual project, and so
Oh, now you're a project.
They are right. I remember seeing this young lady out here when a couple of years ago, and she was an 8th grader, and I saw her grandma and talked to her and watched her golf, watched her putt a little bit, and I was like, this might be one of the missing pieces that we need to put together a good team, and it turned out to be so.
Okay, so you were on that winning team last year.
yes, I was. It was really nice to play with all of them, and I really look up to Hannah and Sophie.
Now, any of the seniors that maybe have left, I mean, are you gleaning some of their experience and maturity?
We only had one senior last year. I'm going to be really sad when Hannah and Sophie leave this year, because
That makes
Yeah.
2 of us.
yeah.
But now let's think about this, because then you're going to have to take up the mantle and start to be the leader of the squad.
Yeah, me and Kit and Alex were the other 3 on varsity this year, so we're going to have to take up those very big roles, so yeah.
I think they can do it. I do.
Okay, I asked them all, what is your favorite subject in school?
Well, he's a science teacher, so science.
Was
I
it
don't know.
as a coach?
No, I haven't had him as a teacher, unfortunately. But
So what subject do you teach?
I teach science. India almost didn't make our team last year because I asked her if she had the good or the bad science teacher. She told me she had the good science teacher, Mrs. Claxton.
Whoa.
I didn't know at that point that he was a science teacher, so should have thought before I spoke.
Okay. If we looked on your music device, what kind of music do you like?
I kind of listen to everything. A lot of my friends have playlists, so I just
Okay, I mean, do you lean more toward country, or lean more toward rock, or you just kind of like whatever's there is there?
whatever's there, some pop stuff, whatever Squire plays in the van on the way to tournaments.
Okay, what does India want to do after high school?
Honestly, I have no idea, but I think that golf would be something really fun to just not
So golf is in your future, at least
No.
mentally?
not really playing, but definitely doing something with it. But it's a lot of fun to be out here and just talk to people and play. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, what's coming up this week?
We are done for the rest of this week. Next week we have a tournament in Boonville, which is a scramble shamble best ball tournament. Girls love that. It's a lot of fun.
So they even call these weird names even in high school, the scramble shamble.
Yeah, they're kind of an unofficial round, but it's a lot of fun, and it's squeezed in between, our end of conference play and before we start getting down to the nitty gritty. So
Next week is the first full week of October. Now, when does your postseason start? The week after that?
yes, we'll have districts on the 9th, and that is in Eldon, which is kind of a semi-home course for our girls. We've played that a lot, and we have access to it right down the highway. And then if things go well, following week is state.
Has your grandmother taken you any other courses than outside of the Lake of the Ozarks? Have you seen any courses, or has it pretty much been here at the lake?
Over the summer, I played just about 11 MGA tournaments, so I was pretty full with that over the summer, and they didn't go super far out of the area, but one or two of them were in Illinois, so yeah.
You know, the courses around here are so beautiful and lush, aren't they, Coach?
We are lucky, absolutely. I've played all of the courses down here at the lake at least once, and I'm lucky that we have the variety that we get to play.
Generally, you know, like North Carolina, you know, with Myrtle Beach and all that. And then, you know, down by Naples, they've got 80 courses in Collier County alone.
Yeah, now, I have not, unfortunately, done a lot of golfing outside of Missouri and Illinois, but I've golfed a lot of the Illinois and Missouri courses here.
Well, we're going to catch you next week. We've been doing it every week, and this has been a whole lot of fun. And then postseason play is in another week.
Yep, I'm super excited.
Well, good luck to you, India.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Guy.
Well, we're here on the campus of Osage High School, and it's a softball team. And if it's softball, it's Lexi Dickerson. How you doing, Lexi?
Doing great. How are you?
All right. You know, I was looking at your season, and so far you're doing pretty good this year.
Yes, much improvement from last year, so that's awesome to see.
And you had some games from the last time we talked going into the weekend and all, and those weekend games are kind of tough.
Yeah, we definitely have had 2 tournaments now on the weekend back-to-back. We have this weekend off, which will be nice. Good for the girls.
And that is nice because on Friday it's homecoming.
Yeah, we got Friday this homecoming this week, and so letting them enjoy that as well as playing some softball.
Okay, who's our guest tonight?
We have Leah Zahar.
All right, and Leah, what position do you play?
I play third and sometimes shortstop.
What is your favorite between the two? Short is really critical. It's in that gap area, but third, you need the arm to take it over to first.
I'd probably say third. I like third base.
And do you like that because you can attack the home plate on that?
That's fun at times as well, yes.
All right. So what do you think is your best part? Is it more fielding? Is it hitting?
I would probably say more fielding-wise because I need to work on my batting stance at times, but I'm confident in the more field. I'm less in my head at times. And
So what would be your batting average? Do you know what that is? Do you keep track of that?
I do not know.
Are we allowed to say?
I don't typically tell the girls their stats until after the season because I don't want them thinking too much about it. But she is hitting much better than she was last year. Definitely, I would say she's around the 300. So.
Okay. And 300, hey, that's what the pros are hitting. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. It's a very good batting average. She has improved so much from last year, and she's a key right now in our lineup.
Okay. What is your favorite part about softball? How did you get interested in this?
Well, softball has ran in my family for many years now. My grandma was a coach and played as well, and my aunts and my mother did as well. And so I just enjoy it. I like the competition. I like the uncertainty of not knowing where the ball's going to go and just knowing where to go with it.
Okay. On the warm-ups, and you do around the horn there at the end, right before you give it to the pitcher. That's always fun for the fans to see that.
Yes, yeah.
Do you guys practice that, or is it just a natural thing because you've done it so often?
It's pretty natural, I'd say.
Practice it some. We practice it some, but not a lot. It's just kind of on them.
You know, there's some ritual things that it just flows and it looks so cool that sometimes you need that practice to do that.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year we really practice it, but now that we play, it seems like we play every day. They don't need to practice it as much because they do it every day.
Okay, what's your favorite subject in school?
I'd probably say history.
Oh, wow. And why history?
Because I don't really enjoy English. I mean, I don't think I'm the best at math, but I just like learning and knowing specifically the U.S. history and how we've come to where we are today.
So, like Revolutionary War, the Civil War, you kind of like to go back in time.
Yes, yes.
What's the favorite part of the history of the United States that you enjoy the most?
I'd probably say early 1900s, kind of closer to where we are now, but not too far back, and just knowing what happened.
Yeah, that's close to that Gilded Age, you know, and you probably know that because the railroads were in full swing right before World War I, and that is, I mean, the Rockefellers, all those guys were peaking.
Yes, yes.
All right. What's your favorite music? If we looked in your music device, what would it be?
Country music.
All right. Country seems to be a perennial favorite amongst your team, isn't it?
Yes, country music is a fan favorite around here.
Oh, my goodness. How do you like the performance of the team so far? Do you think you can do a little bit better, or is everybody challenging each other to do better?
I feel like at times we can do harder than we have, but this year is a lot better than last year. We have definitely put more effort in this year and more of trying our best into the games and practices.
The more you put in, the more you're going to get back.
Yes, very much so.
What do you want to do after high school?
I think I'm going to be a psychologist or just helping people mentally wise, because I can't do blood and bones and stuff like that. So.
Well, counseling, that's good because it's history. Well, tell me about your past.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so what is your favorite part about all of this? Is it the camaraderie amongst the gals, or is it just getting along with the coach, or just the fans, or what do you like the best?
So, yeah, it's really just learning new people and creating like a new environment for yourself. Like I wouldn't have known Coach Dickerson if it wasn't for softball, and some of the girls here on this team as well. I just like meeting new people and becoming friends with them.
Wow, that's pretty cool. We talked about Stoutland, we talked about Lakeway, and you've got some good opponents coming up. Monday's going to be Richland and you're getting ready now for postseason play.
Yes, we are. We have just previously gone through some pretty tough teams like Blair Oaks and Iberia, but right now we're in a stretch where we play Richland, so we can definitely compete. We beat Crocker last night, which was a good win for us as well.
Every one is another notch further, and this is crunch time, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. We are hitting right into our stride now.
Well, we're going to catch you again. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Well, behind me, we've got the Camdenton Marching Band, and this is really kind of special. We've got the director here, or the conductor, or the director, Dominic Zanaboni.
Yeah, director of bands, yeah.
Yeah. We had a chance to talk last week. What a great time we had talking there. You've got something special happening this weekend, don't you?
Yeah, we're off to BOA Regional in Des Moines, Iowa. So we'll leave tomorrow morning early. We'll stop in just south of Kansas City and rehearse for 3 hours, and then head up into Des Moines, spend the night, perform, compete all day Saturday, and then come back late, get here probably about 5:30 Sunday morning.
Okay, BOA, for the people who don't know what that is.
It's Bands of America. It's a national organization that does a national circuit, so you can have bands compete at the same level, same competition level across the entire country. It all culminates at their Grand Nationals, which is the second week in November. We haven't gone since 2018, so that's something we might do in the future, but this year we're doing the regional in Iowa and then the super regional in St. Louis.
You know, for people who don't know, this is a big deal. And to corral how many, all these, what you said, you had 150?
Yeah, we have 150 kids. So when we hit the road, 150 kids and about 40 adults, 10 of which are staff members and 30 of which are chaperones. So it's kind of a small town. You know, we'll take the 2 trailers back there, and if we're taking school buses, we'll take 7 school buses. If we take charters, it's about 4 charter buses. So it's an event.
You know, tailgate game day, everybody thinks it's a football field, and you're out there marching and doing that kind of thing on the 100 yards in a football field. But there's more to going on, and we talked about this last week about there's so much more practice going on here. Well, maybe it's about the same, but it's a different discipline.
Yeah, I mean, we put in a lot of time, especially in the summer before school starts. But once school does start, we probably put in 9 to 12 hours a week outside of school. The kids are prepping the show and all that stuff. So, yeah, it takes a lot of time.
Who's our guest today?
This is Carter Smith. He's our head drum major. He's a senior. He's a saxophone player. He's been a drum major for 3 years now, Carter? 2 years now. This is his second year, and he's center podium. So this is Carter.
How you doing, Carter?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
All right, when did you start playing saxophone and getting into band?
I think it was about 6 years ago, my 7th grade year.
Okay, isn't it 5th grade when they normally start, or is it around 7th grade?
Most districts in the state start in 6th grade, depending on how they structure their buildings. We start in 7th grade here in Camdenton.
Do you like it?
Oh, I love it. It's been a part of my life for, I don't even know how long.
So how do you get from saxophone to being drum major? Because that is another whole discipline altogether. Leadership qualities?
Yeah, so I played saxophone, and I was always really involved in band. And so I loved, helping set up for concerts, like setting up chairs and different things like that. And then once I got into high school, I did some more the leadership camp style stuff, and then I became a section leader for the saxophones along with one of my friends who was also another section leader, and then from there it kind of morphed into being a drum major. Wow, great responsibility put on this young man.
Oh, absolutely. It's tricky to pick We have a very outstanding student leadership team that works incredibly hard, and it's kind of tiered. So you have the head drum major, the 2 assistant drum majors, and then from there we have section leaders, and they're all responsible for their group of kids on so many levels. Do they have what they need? Do they know what's going on? Are they doing sectionals to make sure everyone can play their parts and march the way we need them to march? And then kind of the drum majors overlook all of that structure. So it's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders as well as our other drum majors.
Now, does he do any leading, like conducting on the field, or once you start them, they go?
He runs the show. He runs the rehearsal. Like if you stay tonight, you'll see that. I'll give commentary, and then Carter gives the feedback, and we start.
How's that feel? There's a certain bit of a rush there.
It is, yeah. It's crazy because, they respond to what I say. I will say a segment, and then I'll say set, and they'll say it back, and then I'll go ahead and start them. And it's weird thinking like everyone's following what I'm saying. It's not a feeling, but it is a little bit of a rush.
You want to major in music in college?
I think one of my minors will be music, for sure. I never want to stop being a musician.
So what is your goal after high school?
So right now, it used to be more in the medical field, but right now I'm studying to be a pilot. So I've been flying the past 3 months and getting a head start on that for college.
That's like 3 different disciplines, from music to being a physician and to a pilot?
Yeah, I've had a lot of change. From first grade, I always wanted to be a doctor, and then, some of my friends started to fly airplanes, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then I started looking into myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is something that I think I would do really well at and that I would enjoy a lot.
Okay, a couple quick ones here. Favorite subject in school?
Math.
Okay, looked on your iPad. What's your favorite music?
Ooh, it used to be Billy Joel, but right now it's probably Elton John.
All right. You're so lucky to have the students like Carter here.
Oh, absolutely. That's what makes the job awesome, is the kids. We didn't have the kids that we have, we wouldn't be able to do what we do, and I wouldn't have a job. So I'm very thankful for all of the students on this field.
Well, we're very thankful for you to grant us permission to come and watch the kids practice here, and good luck to you this weekend in Iowa.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carter.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to head on over to the gymnasium over at the School of the Osage. We're going to watch a little bit of the battle at the lake. We're talking the Lady Indians and the Lady Lakers. They took a battle, and it was neck and neck, right around 10, 11, 12, right in that area. Someone had to win the match, and this is in the final set of that match when they were playing, and we're going to let you see who won that. And so for the next few minutes, just stay tuned because it's quite fascinating and interesting. Let you see some of these teams compete that we've been talking with. Here now is a portion of that game. All right, we're back and we're ready. Back to serve. Who do we have? Steen? All right.
Oh, we're going to have a lift there. As Bella Brewer, timing just a little off right there. She tries to recover, sliding that hand underneath.
17-15 in favor of the Lady Indians. Garmany, here's the setup. Hewlett to the back. They see something there. Oh! Out of bounds. They see something because they've moved Hewlett from the back to the front line. If you notice that, because when this whole match started, Hewlett was more in the back, but now she's in the front.
Now she's in the back as she's up to serve.
Nice over. Here's the setup. Brewer. They're mixing things up. Oh! Well, Lady Indians might have the number on this one. Who knows? They're ahead 18-16, set 3.
They tie their biggest lead of this contest, this match, at 18-16. 2 points is all they've led by tonight at any given time.
Here we go. Oh my goodness. 19-16, and they might be on their way to taking a set. It's got to be the best of 5. You must win 3 out of the 5. To the back. Brewer. Nice save. Oh. Osage working hard now, Tony.
As Bella Brewer says, was that my ball? As she puts her hands up. Indians' biggest lead of the night at 20-16.
Yeah, you talking to me? Oh, into the net. Point awarded Lakers. Well, they don't call it the Battle of the Lake for nothing, do they?
Nice run there by Mackenzie Collins. Just can't get that one over the net. It's back to 3-point lead in this third game for the Osage Indians.
Nope. Oh, did not, let's see, into the net by the Lakers. Point awarded to the Indians. Back to serve number 17, Emma Faulkner. Garmany, Asante. That was Dot Krulatz with that kill shot.
As Bella Asante will go back to serve. Down 3.
Nice serve. It's over. They're going to set it up. Avery. Garmany. Dot. Avery's going to whack it. Kill shot, Avery.
Nice kill right there by Avery Sperling.
Yes.
Both clubs seeing the floor well tonight, Guy. They're all seeing
Yep.
the sweet spots that are out there, and they are attacking those spots.
Taylor Johnson gets it over. All the way to the far side. Kinsey. Ah! Nice save there by Taylor, the libero. But nice hit there by Kinsey.
A lot of fight in both teams tonight.
I like it. Kylie Bentley to serve for the Lady Lakers. It's over. Oh! It just rolled along.
(20-22). Indians still lead by 2, but here come the Lakers.
It was in.
That's going to be called in right there.
Wow.
Tough call right there.
That was on the line, but just inside. And they're going to take another 30. We will as well. This is the Battle of the Lake. We got Osage and Camdenton. Having some fun here. Thanks for joining us. All right, we're back, Tony. And we got a score 22-21. Osage on top by just that single point.
Every game has been close, but you know what? The Lakers have come up on top so far as they lead 2-0.
Bentley. Here's the set. Avery goes cross court, out of bounds. Well, guess what? We are tied, Tony, at 22s. Wow.
Just 3-point lead by the Indians. They can't hold on to it. We're at 22 again in game 3.
Oh! They luckily got it over.
Late whistle right there.
This will be a heartbreaker for Osage if they came on the short end, wouldn't it? They've worked hard.
Right call by the official. Just a little late.
Bentley. Nice dig. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Kelly Swanson. This is now set point, and with it being the third set, it's match point now. They take this one, they take the match.
Indians going to take timeout as they now trail by 2, 24-22 in game 3.
Now you have to win by 2. So if Osage gets one more and they go 25-23, that would be by 2. But if Osage gets 2 more and they're tied at 24s, then you have to go 26. You must win by 2.
Both teams back out onto the court.
Kylie Bentley back to serve for Lady Lakers. Serve. Up. Cross. It's in. Coffin corner. Point goes to Osage. 24-23. Still set point. Match point for the Lakers.
Right where you want to be if you're trailing in this match right here is the Indians. They now have service.
Nice serve to the back. Bentley. Asante. Swanson gets it. Match point. The Battle of the Lake has been won by the Camdenton Lady Lakers. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you so much for joining us on the Tailgate Game Day Show. This is number 6. We have done now 6 of these shows, and it's been a lot of fun to bring it to you. Next week, we might even take you out to the Apple Festival, out of Versailles. Then we're going to double back, and we're going to talk to the volleyball coach over at Camdenton and the softball coach at Camdenton. And we took a little bit of time off as they're getting ready now to go into some district play and then the playoffs toward the end of the season. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the games. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and then the bell. Then you'll be notified when future programs come on up. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week for another edition of Tailgate Game Day.